All right, we're doing another Bible study video for Good Friday. So this is pretty much the laying out of a prophecy and it being fulfilled through Jesus. So the verses today that we have are Mark 15:34 and Psalm 22:1. So I have both the NASB, this is ESV, just to help compare and contrast and get the right answer out of it. So for the NASB, and at the ninth hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is translated, My God, why hast thou forsaken me? So you can see from this verse that it's a cry of lament, and I like how this is actually in the verse that it gives the translation. And then ESV, at the ninth hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, My God, why have you forsaken me? So these are both in the book of Mark, which is one of the earliest Gospels, and both take place during Jesus' crucifixion. He's on the cross, and he cries this out in a loud voice. Psalm 20, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? For from my deliverance are the words of my groaning. That's NASB. And then ESV, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? So, these are so similar, and the point is, Jesus is quoting Psalm 22:1 in this, and there's a lot more to Psalm 22 that shows that this is pretty much a prophecy. So, here's the context. Psalm 22 was written 1,000 years before Jesus ever walked the earth, it's crazy. But this was during the times of King David, when David is fleeing Saul, because many times Saul tries to attack David, and he's fleeing and he's in a time of torment, and he says this, My God, why have you forsaken me? And then the context for Mark 15, this is Jesus' trial and crucifixion. They put him up on the cross, and he finally cries this out. So I'm going to go through some verses that are extremely similar. In Psalm 6-8, it says, But I am worn and not a man, scorned by mankind and despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Let him rescue him, for he delights in him. So this is similar to Mark 32, which says, Let the Christ, King of Israel, come down from the cross, that we may see and believe him. Those who crucified with him also reviled him. So they're both claiming, why don't you be delivered? Why don't you deliver yourself? They're just similar, which is neat. And then another good verse is verses 14-15, which says, I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, it is melted within my breast. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to my jaws. You may lay me in dust of death. So this is, when Jesus was crucified, he was beaten terribly from the Romans, but also he was flogged, he was whipped. So these are very similar. And then there's a better one that connects well. Verse 16-18. For dogs encompass me, a company of evildoers encircles me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones, they stare and gloat over me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Now, in verse 24, which I'll go back, and they crucified him, and divided his garments among them, casting lots for them, to decide what each should take. So Jesus was crucified, and nails were put into his palms. And this verse, 1,000 years before him, almost describes exactly what happened. They have pierced my hands and my feet. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. So they're like, we want to take some of his garments. Let's roll some, it's not literally rolling die, like drawing straws to see who can get it. And then the last memorable, verse 26. The afflicted shall eat and be satisfied. Those who seek him shall praise the Lord. May your hearts live forever. So Jesus makes known in his ministry that he is the bread of life and he is the living water. that when somebody takes of this food and eats of it, they'll be satisfied forever. All right, that is the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe, and goodbye.